I'm Terry Klinker. We're going to continue our discussion of decision analysis. Last video we talked about what makes a good decision, what makes a bad decision, and we talked about the 5 steps that go into a decision. In this video we're going to approach the first 4 of those steps. We're going to define the problem, come up with alternatives, the outcomes for each alternative, and we're going to decide the payoff of each combination of alternative and outcome. The 4th step will actually be a payoff table, and you'll be able to see that as we go through it. The problem we're going to work with in this video and the next several videos is a problem where we're trying to decide what to invest in. We have an opportunity to invest in condominiums. Now, the problem we run into is what type of condominiums are we going to invest in? We've got some data that's provided to us. If we invest in, we have 3 different types of condos. We can invest in large, medium, or small size condos. We're also told that there could be a strong market for condominiums or a weak market for condominiums. We're also told that if we invest in small condominiums and there is strong demand for condominiums, we can expect a return of $7 million. On the other hand, if we invest in small condominiums and there is a weak demand for condominiums, we will get a return of $8 million. I realize that that means we'll make more with weak demand than strong demand. I'll address that in a minute. If we invest in medium condominiums and there's strong demand, we can expect to make $14 million. However, if we invest in medium condominiums and we end up with weak demand, we'll only make $5 million. If we invest in the large condominiums and we have strong demand, we can expect to make $20 million. If we invest in large condominiums and there's a weak demand for condominiums, our project will lose $9 million. So let's go through this. You should have printed out the sheets that I've provided, and so all of this information is right in front of you. So let's go through and figure out how that fits into the problem-solving list that I gave you. First off, define the problem. The problem is we're trying to decide what kind of condominiums to invest in. So, the problem is what condos, if any, to invest. There's our problem. Small, medium, large, no investment. Those are our options, right? So what are the alternatives? I can invest in large. I can invest in medium condominiums. I can invest in small condominiums. I can also invest in no condominiums. I can make no investment whatsoever. What are the possible outcomes? Well, in this case, the outcomes are the same for each option. That's not always true, but in this case it is. We could have either a strong demand for condominiums, or we could have a weak demand for condominiums. Now, it would be better if I actually used more alternatives here, more outcomes. But for simplicity's sake, I want to keep it with just 2 outcomes at this point in time. The payoff tells us what is the payoff for each combination of alternative to outcome. And to do this, we'll actually build a payoff table. So the payoff table, we normally take our alternatives and use them in the rows. So my alternatives here are I can invest in small condos, I can invest in medium condos, or I can invest in large condos. I can also make no investment whatsoever. For the columns, we will use the outcomes. The outcomes are I could have strong demand for condominiums, or I could have weak demand for condominiums. Now remember again, these are our options. We control these. We can decide which one we invest in. These are states of nature. We have no control over what the market does. All right? We can control what we decide to invest in. We cannot control what the market does. Now we want to build the table. What is the value of the combination of each? Well, we said that if I invest in small and I have strong demand, I can expect to make $7 million. If I invest in small condos and we have weak demand, I can expect to make $8 million. Now, why would this be true? Why? Well, think about it. If you invest in small condos and there's strong demand, people will probably be buying the bigger condos. That's why we go through this. Medium condos with strong gets me $14 million, and with large it gets me $20 million. But if we have weak demand for condos, the people who do buy condos are probably going to buy the smaller units and invest less money in them. So it is entirely possible that we would make more money with weak demand with something that requires a lower investment. Keep going. We said that if it was a medium condo and we had strong demand, it would be $14 million. If it was weak demand and we chose mediums, we could expect to get $5 million back. Large condos, strong demand yields a $20 million return. If we invested in large and there was weak demand, we can expect to lose $9 million. And if we make no investment whatsoever, we would make no money if there's a strong demand, and we would make no money if there's a weak demand. So what have we done here? We've defined the problem. What kind of condos are we going to invest in, if any? We've come up with the alternatives, the options. We've identified the outcomes for each option. We could have strong or weak demand. And we've identified the combination of payoff for each option and state of nature. In the next video, we'll discuss different techniques for evaluating which decision we will make.